I almost didn't want to go out there and make a video on this topic, because we knew it was coming. It was so predictable, it was already there, the spotlight was already shining upon this player. And then there was another signing, so I was like, okay, we got two signings for the price of one, we can combine them into a video here. Let's talk about the news that we had learned earlier this morning, that the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be bringing Max Pacioretty in on the PTO. This is not surprising in the slightest. Pacioretty was linked to Toronto for a few days now, and honestly, it makes sense. This is the most poetic way for Max Pacioretty to continue his hockey playing career. Why? Here's why. Tic Tac Omar went out there and tweeted that this is meant to be, because Max Pacioretty obviously is number 67. And look, when it comes to 67 in the Maple Leafs, yeah, it's a pretty big deal. Everybody kind of recognizes why that's funny. But continuing on with the conversation about Pacioretty, we're going over onto this article on ProHockeyRumors.com, not because it's a rumor or anything, it's already confirmed, but because this article does a pretty good job at describing everything that's going on. It's far from unexpected. The writer here, Josh Erickson, says, David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period reported the Leafs were in discussions to sign Pacioretty late last month, and Darren Dreger said yesterday that coming to an agreement with Pacioretty was one of Toronto's top priorities after resolving a stalemate with RFA forward Nick Robertson. Talk about that, eh? Imagine re-signing Nick Robertson. You know, he's kind of back in the system now, he's a left-wing guy, and then you bring in Max Pacioretty immediately after. Like, okay, you wanted to give Nick Robertson the opportunity to prove himself? Well, here's another left wing, and one of the better ones at that, coming over to the Toronto Maple Leafs on a PTO. Pacioretty, of course, had 23 points in 47 games played last year. Just 2 seasons ago, he was a point-per-game guy with the Vegas Golden Knights. So he's good, maybe not like super good compared to 2 years ago, but still good enough. The season that he had with Carolina, where he only had 5 games played, that kind of took the wind out of him. So obviously there's a little bit of recovery that needs to go on here for Patches. But going back over onto the article here, this all comes after the signing of Nick Robertson. Most expected Pacioretty's eventual agreement with the Leafs to be a guaranteed contract instead of a PTO, but with Toronto tight to the salary cap, it'll take some time to work out, likely into training camp. Pacioretty inking a PTO likely indicates he has a deal in place that will be signed once the Maple Leafs have the financial flexibility to do so, a sentiment echoed by Chris Johnston of The Athletic. His agent, Octagon's Alan Walsh, also confirms this. So there is a tweet here that has that information. We expect that Pacioretty will sign a contract with the Leafs before the start of the season. As we had said, man, Pacioretty is not a bum. 23 points in 47 games played certainly is capable of getting NHL money still in 2024, 2025. I mean, Pacioretty is 35, so it's not going to be a long-term deal, per se, but still, he's good enough to get signed. He's just going to be on a PTO for now because the Maple Leafs need to free up some cap space. And why exactly are the Maple Leafs freeing up some cap space? Well, because they had re-signed Robertson, and they also signed Jani Hakanpaa officially. But before we get into that, let's finish off the rest of the Pacioretty article here. Pacioretty will be 36 in November. He will compete to land a job in the Leafs' top 9 as a depth scorer with loads of NHL experience, 902 NHL games to be exact. After recovering from a pair of Achilles tendon tears, Pacioretty struggled to reclaim his pre-injury form with just 4 goals in 47 games after working his way back to a regular NHL role with the Capitals last season. And then it goes over an entire history lesson here. He's been good. He was with the Canadiens. He's had a few injuries over the years. And given his age, he is eligible to sign a bonus-laden 35-plus contract. That will allow the Maple Leafs to keep his initial cap hit low, likely the league minimum $775,000, while allowing him to earn more cash if he stays healthy and becomes a regular contributor. Any performance bonuses that he earns that Toronto can't fit under the salary cap will be applied to next season's books as a bonus overage penalty. Pacioretty is likely set to fill the role that Robertson did last season. After inking a 1-year, $875,000 deal yesterday, Robertson is still on the trade block following his late June trade request. If the Leafs find a trade partner before opening night, Pacioretty and Bobby McMahon will likely compete for left-wing duties on the second line with Tavares and Nylander, with the other dropping to third-line minutes. So, we had not talked about this in yesterday's video, but Nick Robertson is indeed still on the trade block. It kind of came out a few hours after we made our video that he was still apparently going to get traded, so that's another update that we have to pay attention to. If Robertson gets moved, then that's another spot open for Max Pacioretty in the lineup. But as we had said, this is a PTO, not a regular contract, because the Maple Leafs also signed Jani Hakanpaa today to a contract that is pretty significant, I would say. Here it is. It is a one-year deal, $1.470 million a year. Hakanpaa, 32, recorded 12 points in 64 games for the Dallas Stars during the 23-24 season. In 288 career NHL games, the Kirkkonummi, Finland native, has registered 45 points and 173 penalty minutes split between Anaheim, Carolina, and Dallas, while adding 4 points in 33 career playoff games. The 6'7", 225-pound defenseman was selected by St. Louis in the 4th round of the 2010 NHL Draft. Now, over the past year, I've been ranting and raving about my fantasy league that I participated in with John from Hot Take Hockey. He ran the thing, and Jani Hakanpaa was one of the best players in my fantasy league. Why? Because John from Hot Take Hockey put goals and assists almost in the same amount of value as hits and blocks. So Hakanpaa was an absolute shot-blocking machine last season. He was one of the best players in my entire league. I had him for the majority of the year. He was great, but there were injury concerns with him. It's why he didn't sign until now. It took such a long time for the Maple Leafs to get this done. Here is the Pro Hockey Rumors article giving us all we need to know about Hakanpaa. Back at the beginning of the offseason on July 1st, Darren Dreger reported that the Maple Leafs and Hakanpaa agreed to a 2-year contract with Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman relaying a $1.5 million cap hit each season. Mum was the word after that, as Toronto never registered the contract with the league offices as Hakanpaa's knee injury became a cause for concern. Hakanpaa's year during the 23-24 season was cut short on March as he underwent an arthroscopic procedure. After debating whether or not Hakanpaa would be healthy enough to play in Toronto's blue line, the team ultimately decided to mitigate their risk with a 1-year deal. Despite the relatively low cap hit, it complicates an already tight Maple Leafs cap structure. The team entered the afternoon with approximately $400,000 in salary cap room, according to Puckpedia, and Hakanpaa's salary will now put them in negative territory. The risk may be solid, as Hakanpaa's last 3 years with the Dallas Stars were more than quality. He had scored a mild 12 goals and 40 points over 226 games, but his 668 hits and 363 block shots over that span made him one of the more physically oppressive defensemen in the league. The Stars played a suffocating style on defense, and Hakanpaa was one of the reasons their structure became so restrictive for opponents. That's exactly what I'm talking about, baby. 668 hits and 363 block shots over 226 games. The guy was averaging 3 hits and a block shot a game. He was so good, so defensively sound, and so important. There won't be much of an expectation for high levels of ice time at 5-on-5 play for Hakanpaa, but he should see a healthy amount of minutes on the team's penalty kill. He jumps from a penalty kill ranked 8th last season to one that was ranked 23rd. He should also help Toronto keep the puck out of their own net. The team wasn't horrible in that category last season by any stretch of the imagination, but their 3.18 goals against per game did rank 21st in the league, which could be improved upon. So this is a really good acquisition, I'd say. Alongside of Chris Tanev, the Maple Leafs are getting better defensively. They're getting better with their shot blocking. This is going to be a pretty good signing if Hakanpaa is able to stay healthy, but of course it complements the Pacioretty signing because that's a pretty meh kind of dollar amount there. 1 year, $1.47 million. That's not terribly insignificant. So the Maple Leafs are probably going to have to trade Robertson away. They're probably going to have to move some guys around to open up the cap space to sign Pacioretty officially to a regular contract. But for now, this is our Toronto Maple Leafs update. Pacioretty is on the team on the PTO, and Hakanpaa is on the team normally. It took so long for Hakanpaa to get signed, but he's finally got that pen to the dotted line. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about these two signings here. I hope you enjoyed this video. 9 and bye.